Hello, this is Keith Owen. Welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about the filter function, and in this case, we're going to use multiple criteria, and it's going to be an and condition. So in other words, the condition within the filter function, we're going to look for two separate criteria, and they both have to match, which is the and condition for the filter function to return a subset of our data set. So basically what we're going to be doing is the criteria that we're going to be looking for in this data set or this array or range is we're going to first look for values in the department column, and then once we find that value, we want to see if we have a category within the department that we find. So let's go over here. Let's build the function formula together. Filter, and then the array, or basically the range of data that we want returned from the filter function, is going to be the first argument. So we're going to select our entire data set. We do not include the headers, comma. Now for this include argument here, we're going to include two separate criteria. And then we're going to multiply that together, which represents an and condition for Excel. And you'll see how this all works. We're first going to include the first criteria in parentheses. So we want to look for the department first. We're going to select the range where we're going to find the department that we want. It's going to equal to the value that we have in this cell. Again, we don't have to do it dynamically like this. We could also hard code the value right here just by putting it in double quotes. Now we're going to close out that first criteria, and now we're going to use the asterisk sign, which indicates to Excel we want to multiply these two conditions together, which represent an and condition. So in this case, both of these conditions that we put here, they have to match in order for the filter function to return records for us. So our second criteria in this case, we're going to be looking for a category. So we're going to select the range where we're going to find the category that we select up here. So it's going to be equal sign equal to this value here. Close out the parentheses. And now we'll go to the next argument in the filter function, and this is optional. Now, let me explain to you, if we exclude this argument from this filter function and the filter function does not return any records, then it's going to the filter function will return a calc error, a pound calc error, which means that it couldn't find any records. So I'm going to put in a value here, no records. And what this third argument does, so if the filter function doesn't return any matching criteria, then that means it's going to put out no records instead of that calc error that we would get. So what this did now is we're looking for research and development is the first criteria. Once we find a research and development here, then within that separate subset, do we find market research as a criteria within that subset? So we go down to the records, research and development over here. Does it find market research on the same record? Yes, it does. That's why it returned a result. Now, if I change this to anything else, as you can see, it spits out no records, which was I put in as a third argument a value for the filter function in case it doesn't find any records. So let's go back here. Let's go over here. Let's do this again. Now let's evaluate the formula in the formula bar. The way to do that is let's go to the second argument right prior to it and press Alt Enter. And then let's go to the second criteria within the second argument of the filter function, press Alt Enter. Now let's evaluate this together. So we highlight the first criteria. As you can see what Excel does, it returns this into trues and falses. So let's go back to F9. Okay, and let's do the same thing for the second criteria here. Press F9. And again, what Excel does is it takes a formula, and if it returns, it evaluates it. Does this range anywhere equal to this value right here? And if it does, it's going to return a true. If it doesn't, it's going to return a false. So what this does, and we'll take this even a step further, and I'll put in these formulas over here so it's easier for you to understand. But anyways, Excel then does, after it evaluates all these to trues and falses, it's going to multiply these trues and falses together. And when Excel does that, meaning when Excel multiplies a Boolean value with another Boolean value, it's going to return a 0 or a 1. So if it takes false times false, it's a 0. If it takes false times true or true times false, it's also a 0. It only returns 1 when it takes true times true, and then that returns a 1. So let's highlight all these together. Press F9 again. As you can see, it returned all zeros except for 1 because it did find a match over here. So don't forget to press the escape key now to get you back to your formula. Okay, now let's put these conditions in here. Let's go over here and copy it. Control C, escape. Let's put this over here. Put in an equal sign. Let's do this for the second thing. Let's highlight this together. Control C, escape. Equal sign, let's paste it here. Okay, and now you can see it further. So what it does with this criteria for the second argument to the filter function, the first criteria is it's going to look in this range, which I stated here. Does that range, any one of these records, equal research and development? Once it finds a match, if it does, it'll return a true. As you can see down here, it returned a true for these last 3 records. It will do the same thing for the second criteria, second formula. So what this formula is doing is, does this range, the category column, does it equal a value in C4? And as you can see down here, it finally found the match. It says this range equals market research. So when it takes, then the formula, what it will do is then it'll take true times true, and this value over here, which I'll show you, will equal 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take equal times, press enter. So it's taken two Boolean values and multiplying them together. I'm going to copy this down. And as you can see, once it gets to a true times a true, it's going to equal 1. And that's how Excel evaluates this function here, or this filter function right here that we got here. Hopefully this gave you some great ideas on how you could use the filter function, how the filter function works, and also how you could use multiple criteria within the filter function. And of course, I explained further how Excel evaluates trues and falses in your arguments. Thank you for stopping by today. And I look forward to the next video, and I'll explain further on other ideas on how you could use the filter function. Thanks again. Bye now.